Hello, welcome to my Reflect and Connect week number 7. And today we have an interesting reading, and it's coming from our very close teacher and pedagogy professor, Richard S. Webb, PhD, State University of New York at Fredonia. Yes, we are going to be embarking on a reading journey. Well, I already did. But we're going to be talking about one of our professor's paper that he wrote. And so we're talking about a more student-centered pedagogy, or more, yeah, um, where the child is first or comes first. Wait a minute. No, this is a better way of wording it. Where your students take ownership over their learning and through more divergent thinking activities. All right, that's the definition. But yeah, let's get into this interesting reading. So, um, first thing we talk about is just his. We always talk about this actually. This is my chai. But we always talk about this story, or we talked about this story a lot from last semester and this semester. But just when he said no to a student in terms of playing a chord a certain way, and he felt bad because he could have used it as a learning opportunity instead of being like no. But yeah, let's see. So the main thing of this reading is just that we should, as educators or future educators, try to have our students be involved in their learning in terms of like having them try out certain things instead of constantly being like, you have to do this, you have to do that. Just like the point of music education, in my opinion, is like we're fostering our children's understanding of the music that they're learning. And one like one thing that should be a part of the education is being able to like give their opinion on what something musical, or how something should turn out musically or go musically. Oops, sorry. But yeah, I know in my elementary class we're going, I think it's not Gordon's learning theory, but it's the learning theory from Gordon, um, where the steps were like, first you have to listen, then think, then um, do, and then the last parts are reading and writing in terms of like the steps in a child's education or music education. So yeah, I don't think I've experienced any of this in an actual classroom, but I think it's interesting how, like, in methods, we go over a lot of these techniques. And one thing was about, like, their daily scales warm ups, where students could improvise their own warm ups. And this reminded me of last semester where we did an activity with a scale, and students had to like do a certain rhythm or certain rhythms to the scale. So being limited, but also in that limitation, having your students be free to do anything or create anything in it. And what else? Something else that caught my eye was have the orchestra play a passage in a different style. And that caught my eye because I mentioned this before, but you know, at this stage, this is why elementary music is so important because it builds their understanding of music later down. But like, you know, at this high school or middle school level in their music education where they're being more musical, I think it's also important for them, not only individually but as a group, to actually try to make own decisions of how or what the music is telling them or speaking to them. And it's up to us as educators to lead them into um, that decision, or basically like lead them into something. And like sometimes it's going to be different than our interpretation of this, like of the section or of the song or of the piece. But you know, as educators, we should be open to like their ideas of their musical interpretations to it. And you know, sometimes we might be like, oh, this is actually, we should do this, and that would encourage your students and want them to be in orchestra as well. But you know, sometimes it's not going to work out, and then when you play in that way, they're going to be like, oh, no, you're right. So yeah, but yeah,